Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Reddit Aliens. I'm John, and as always, thank you so much for being here. Super straightforward topic. Let's go for it. What's your school's dark rumor? Please remember to like, share, tell us your own, and subscribe. 7th grade in Catholic school, there was a rumor that the principal, a priest, was in love with one of the teachers who was a nun. Turned out to be true. A couple of months later, they both left the church and ran off together. 100% fact. In year 9, you went on a term-long camp where you went to a campus out in a rural setting. You stayed in dorms of up to 8 with no adult supervision most of the time. Learned to fend for yourself a bit, life lessons, etc. There was a cake sale for the local football team. Each house made a cake. You can imagine the skills 16-year-olds had with baking cakes. One house thought it would be a great idea to ejaculate all over the cake before putting it up for sale. It was sold. People ate it. Once people found out, all hell broke loose. Everyone who had some of the cake had to get urgent health checks. All the boys involved were instantly expelled, and the school tried their utmost to keep it under wraps. My high school was next to a bridge or river, which was connected to a large sewer opening. It had a seal on it at one point, but a bunch of kids broke it open to explore it. Someone was always graffitiing something inside the sewer too. Anyway, there was a huge rumor that a guy high on heroin, my small town has a huge heroin problem, had spray painted one long red line from the start of the sewer to the very end of the sewer. So it was really common to hear about teens trying to get to the end of the sewer. Eventually, somebody said they got pretty deep into the sewer and met the heroin addict himself, who tried to kill him with a knife. No clue if it was a real story or a dumb rumor, but it wouldn't surprise me, honestly. This sounds like a perfectly reasonable urban legend that young people would start, and similar towns probably have similar stories with similar accounts of realism or not. You guys have one? Drama teacher got with the PE teacher. PE teacher was recently married, and the drama teacher attended their wedding. It was very obvious what was going on. Even as a kid, you could tell the chemistry between them. My best friend at the time was the drama teacher's favorite student, so she always got asked to run small favors. One time, she was asked to get something out of her desk and found their love notes. Very soon after that, it became a whole thing. They realized the whole school knew. PE teacher got divorced, and they barely looked at each other for the rest of the time I was in school. Also, science teacher, who was my favorite, turned out to be into child porn. He was actively downloading when the police busted in. He was raided the year after I left. My dad told me and asked if he ever did anything to me. He never did anything to me or even made any inappropriate comments. I was devastated. That teacher was my rock. I was bullied ruthlessly, and he was the only one to care. He'd let me eat my lunch in his classroom to escape them, and would always give detentions out if he ever saw people bullying me, where other teachers would ignore it. I went to a tiny private school that was on an old rich family's grounds. There were underground tunnels connecting the buildings, which we saw several times for school-related activities, a cellar, polo field, etc. The original mansion was converted to the middle school building and administration. It's 114 years old. There were 3 dark stories that stand out to me. The family who owned the home had several children. One died on the polo quad at the center of the school. It was some sort of horse-related incident, though I don't remember if he was crushed or kicked or thrown. This is confirmed and can be looked up through death records and obituaries. The lady of the house apparently had some degree of paranoia-related mental illness. She had put in secret doors and was the one to plan the underground passages out of the estate. Many of the staff, students, and alumni claimed they saw her in the mansion's library, where she secret room or safe room was, which has since been converted to an office. She always looked sad. This one rumor, but it's never confirmed, our theater was haunted. Just incredibly spooky, unexplained paranormal stuff happening all the time. The stage had a little cutout or lowering mechanism or trapdoor. It was never used, and the under portion of the stage was rarely touched. The rumor was that a kid got stuck in it at some point and horribly mangled themselves in the mechanism. Never did find out if that was true. Biology teacher was having sex with one of the students. He was a married man and had a baby son. Everyone in my class wanted to know if it was true and the identity of the girl. Some time passes, and we find out who the girl was. Apparently, she told her parents that the teacher was her boyfriend, and he took her virginity. The wife came to the school to make accusations, but the biology teacher always denied it. She even called my English teacher, a really sweet woman, a whore, because she thought she was also sleeping with her husband. That rumor was also true. To end the story, biology teacher divorced his wife and now has an official relationship with an English teacher. There was a rumor that one of the math teachers, he was a young, fairly attractive man, was dating one of the year 11 girls in my class. He was a huge flirt and spent more time flirting with her in class than teaching. I dismissed it as nothing more than a rumor until I saw him driving her into school one day. The staff car park was down the side of the school, where students were technically not allowed to be. Toward the end of the car park was a large bush area which obscured cars from view of the main buildings. I'd gotten to school at an ungodly hour because I wanted to work on an art project and was just hanging around in some outdoor seating on that side of the school waiting for the art block to open. I saw him get out of his car, open the door for her, they engaged in a long, passionate kiss, and he walked off into the school while she walked a different way into the school. She saw me, did the surprised Pikachu face, and walked off. Later that week, she approached me and asked if I had told anyone. I told her I hadn't told anyone, and I didn't intend to. I thought it was wrong and creepy, but it was none of my business. I also told her if she needed help or needed me to tell someone I was there for her. She thanked me, told me it was completely consensual, and she was extremely happy with him. They kept dating after school. Eventually they got married and had a couple of babies. In hindsight, I probably should have told someone, but I was young and didn't really know how to react to what I saw. As far as I knew, I was the only person who actually knew the truth. Do you put stock into the phrase, where there's smoke, there's fire? Not always, but generally speaking, it is. The much younger wife of my New Jersey public high school sophomore year homeroom teacher went missing. Her car was found near a swamp. The swamp was searched multiple times without a clue. Obviously, the rumor was he killed her and put the car near the swamp as a diversion from where he actually dumped or buried her. He was repeatedly questioned by police, shunned by everyone, left the school, and took a teaching position at a parochial high school. His wife turned up in a Seattle hospital a year later with a drug overdose. They reconciled but later divorced, and he coached the football team to several championships. Well, the rumor was that one of the teachers threw a desk at a student. I never found out if it was true. I'm honestly unsure, as that school was pretty terrible, as was the teacher, but kids are also prone to exaggerate and tell stories. Could be either. There was a worse one that I know to be true about a school. The school got a request for a transfer of a student, but never anywhere to send the records, and never followed up as they ought to have. It was eventually discovered that the father had murdered his daughter and wife, had called into the school so the daughter wouldn't be missed, quit his job, and then moved across the country. There were two. One about the apparent ghost of a girl who was locked in a bathroom that day they were supposed to break up for summer and died there. We believe this, but when breaking it down, it doesn't make any logical sense that no caretakers or anyone would ever find her. The second one was a guy in year 11. There was a random rumor that he'd put his finger up his bum whilst in the bathroom. Not dark, but pretty funny. Okay, so there were two. One was true, and one I have no idea. Both are pretty bad. The one that was true was how one of our members of our organization was catfishing someone else in our organization. I did not know how things progressed, but eventually person A got arrested for obtaining nudes from person B. The worst thing about that one was the guy was allowed to pack and back into the program due to our stupid director, who I eventually quit over. Also, yes, the guy who got catfished stayed in the program, so it was really weird and uncomfortable. The second was of a girl who slept with lots of guys but had a boyfriend at the time of this, I believe. She had a boyfriend who I will call Bill and cheated on him with Jack. Jack told Bill after the fact and simply didn't believe it when he confronted this girl. The same girl was also rumored to force an abortion by punching her stomach, drinking alcohol, and doing something with peppers. She apparently got rid of the pregnancy through one of the combinations of those methods. It was horrifying in my eyes because by the rumor, She was absolutely desperate for her parents to never find out, so she didn't even try seeing a doctor. My senior year, there was this administration lady, I could not tell you her job if I tried, who regularly flirted with students and staff. She also never followed dress code, inappropriate behavior, inappropriate clothing, inappropriate all the way around. So what she said was totally believable. Anyways, she got caught leaving the men's locker room one day. No woman in the men's and vice versa, and lied for 3 weeks, claiming she was sleeping with a male coach. Almost ruined this man's relationship and reputation with his wife, his kids, and this small-ass town. Truth finally came out, and turns out she was just selling jewel pots to students. Look, what she did was clearly wrong, but considering the accusations, was it really that bad? What do you think? There was this rumor that my old math teacher supposedly touched a girl inappropriately. Went all downhill from there. He was heartbroken and had to leave the school. Years later, I talked to someone who was in the class of the girl starting the rumor. He told me it was all a joke. On a field trip in 10th grade, there was the rumor that my then math teacher cheated on his pregnant wife with a newbie teacher that came along on the field trip. That one turned out to be true. He even got the whole class together after the field trip and stated what was true and what wasn't. There wasn't a dark rumor at my school, just some weird, funny ones. My personal favorite was a rumor about the English teacher. The rumor was that for some ungodly reason, the teacher had a fear of cheese. I don't know how it all began. To this very day, I still haven't figured it out, but it doesn't end there. You see, us students were curious, and we were dying to find out if it was true. So we took matters into our own hands. We sat down, discussed, and schemed as to what we were going to do. We all agreed on the brilliant idea to cover his entire classroom, or at least as much as we could, with sliced cheese. And so we did it. This resulted in us discovering that, yes, the rumor was effing true. This grown-ass man had a literal phobia of cheese. He wouldn't even enter the classroom. He lectured us in the damn hallway. And no, neither of my classmates nor me got detention because they didn't want to put an entire class of 30 teenagers into detention. TL, doctor. Me and my classmates traumatized our English teacher with cheese.